Hello, everybody. Welcome to Indigo Tarot Odyssey. More from our beautiful Empath Oracle. I just get in such a high vibration and feel so good whenever I read from the book. I look at the pictures. I love it. It's almost like a great psychological profile of our emotional states and coping mechanisms and lens of how we see the world and ways to kind of evolve out of that lower vibrational thinking when we get in it. Like, for instance, expectation, right? And this was heavy on my mind yesterday due to the fact that it was my birthday. When I woke up, I was like, don't have crazy expectations because, you've got to go to the university a couple times. You have to do a bunch of stuff. Wake up with gratitude in your heart and the fact that, you're lucky, you're healthy in this year and all of that. And that helped me with the first card, releasing emotional weight, because sometimes we also want to accommodate everybody else in our family. Is so-and-so coming over? Would this person like to join in? What is going on? And oftentimes we can be seriously inconvenience ourselves on certain days that are meant to be like our relaxation day because we're trying to accommodate everybody else. I know I, for one, if I wasn't with my mom or child or something for a portion of their birthday, I felt like, oh my gosh, I felt really bad. So it's a hard thing where you don't want people to feel obligatory, all of that. So what is emotional weight? So this is also separating emotional buildup from the anxious mind, right? Because that can be a tricky turn up right there. This is activating acts of cleansing and releasing and returning to balance. I'll even say, my mind is soothed, all is well, I have all the time in the world. Thoughts are only thoughts, and that's true. And thoughts are only able to affect us if we hang on to them. We start riding that wave and we believe it, whatever it is, good, bad, indifferent, let it pass through, take a step back, breathing and coming back to center. I love this card so much because it almost looks like there's a pearl right here, that wisdom of life, planets, waterfalls, icebergs, rainbows, aurora borealis, everything is in this right now. And I feel like we all carry weird burdens for strange reasons. And empaths, they pick up so much emotional energy from the outside sources that sometimes we have no choice but to release if we want to stay balanced. At times, this really is just a matter of emotional survival, right? Where you ever go in a room, I remember feeling really whack at school, high school dances. I could feel everybody's disappointment and anxiousness. And I would just dance the whole time. So I didn't have to feel all that. I could just feel the energy. It was palpable. It was really weird. We're deeply emotional people and we can't blame all our afflictions on emotions of others, but we definitely can acknowledge that some of our own emotional weight becomes compounded and definitely amplified when we internalize external emotional effects. You guys, if you watch, you ever seen, this doesn't even have to be empaths to know that emotions are contagious. If you watch any reality show where somebody starts to fight and bicker or throws a drink and they start to fight, the whole table revs up. Then other people will start, that it just creeps in. Oh, well, this person over here bothers me. Look how they're looking. They're not siding with my friend, and everything amps up. And it's World War III, right? It's like that. So this helps us do the opposite. We take a breath in and go, everything that's going on around me is simply around me, not to me. Whether you choose to watch some stand-up comedy or sitcom or surround yourself with ultra positive friends to, stay on that upward arc instead of getting involved in all of that. We all have at one time had combative friends or family members. It's not fun to be around. I extricate myself. Bye-bye. It's not good to take life too seriously. Let's enjoy it while we're here. And one of the methods for accomplishing emotional release is, of course, different for everybody. But if you feel as though you resonate with gemstone, you can channel your emotional weight, regardless of source, into a stone that's renowned for capturing excessive emotional energy. Now, I love this. I feel like, but obviously, regular rocks can do this. Spell bags. I love carrying obsidians and dark stones. They're fantastic for this. Tourmaline, out of this world for this. So let's go into experiencing the reality of change, because I do feel like these are all connected really smartly. And sometimes, just a good cry, like an emotional cry, because sometimes you feel that build. I was really, really emotional my birthday morning because it was weird. I was having flashbacks of super fun birthdays with my family and members that are no longer with me, and just well wishing. And it's like I want to cry for several reasons, just joy and for those moments that I was together and I had with these people and all of that. And sometimes it's just lovely to be able to do that. Bodies of water, I'll literally just watch waterfalls on YouTube and I'm like, it's like one of those things. And then we feel lighter, right? A lot of people say that too. Oh, after I had a good cry, I felt really lighter, that type of thing. Or laughing like hysterically, you just feel like, that you have entered a different realm. I love that. So let's talk about experiencing the reality of change, because again, this reminds me of that diagram that I saw the other day, working from the inside out instead of actions being on the outside, working towards the center, behaviors, et cetera, towards how we identify. I like to say, how do I identify? And then I work my way out, and then I have those actions. So I'm like, hey, how do I identify? I really do identify as a naturally positive and optimistic, healthy person that loves my family, loves my vocation, loves my clients, loves all my little IG peeps that I get to talk to every day and have these cyber hugs. All these wonderful geniuses out there that are actors and actresses and writers and movers and shakers and artists. Phenomenal. Now, I identify as somebody who is also a great listener for detail, because I really want to know people's stories. I want to know how they feel. I want to plug in. I want to be present. So do you also identify as somebody who's present? Because that will change your reality in a really great way. We have to understand nothing upon nothing in this world is going to last forever. So approaching life with a sense of curiosity instead of dread. It is a habit. It really is, right? Sometimes we know we have to go to a job, to a person, to a place, to a ritual, to something that needs doing. And sometimes we look forward to it. And sometimes we just have that we will make this manifesto in our head, right? Like, this is going to be, I used to work myself up before I had this one job where I worked with a complete and insane narcissist. And I found it so challenging because being someone who's so into psychology, I could not work my head around. I was like, how could somebody just be one ball of negative chaos and try to screw other people over and get off on it? Like, it drove me nuts. So I would have dread when I'd go into work and I knew they were working. And I thought, oh my God, like, I'm way better than this. I see through this. I see this through this glass darkly. I know what's going on. I know the manipulation. I know all this. But what happens is, somebody who likes chaos and likes to damage other people will drag other people, like I just call them weaker minds, into it. So then it's almost like it forms like a cage for normal people, and the normal people gaslight themselves like, who am I and what's happening? But instead of that, I really just was like, hey, you know what? You don't even need to work here. You're not even monopolizing your natural skill set, so leave. And that's the reality of change. I don't need to be anywhere where I don't like it or I have a sense of dread. Let's celebrate what we can create a positive echo and ripple in the world. And that's usually tapping into our natural gifts, whether we are actors or speakers or comedians or artists or, movers and shakers. All of this, every moment is the now. That's what's crazy. There's nothing that is not now. So when we experience the past, it was now then, right? And all our future experiences will be the now in that moment. So I feel like if we can encourage ourselves to maintain a sense of curiosity towards our life, we don't know what's next, and that's okay. And rather than defaulting into a state of anxiety towards unknown future, why not embrace it with like the childlike curiosity and excitement? That's one thing I am very lucky, and I have trained myself to do that, because then I see the good. I see the miraculous. I was watching Wednesday. I love it so much. It's not a spoiler alert, but I thought right away, like my husband was even looking at me like, yup, you're a dove, if not an owl. And Wednesday's mom says to her, we're seers, but I'm more of a dove. I can see the light and love in the world, and I work with that magic. And, you have that too, but you're a raven. You see and navigate around the evils and sinister in people. You see the darker side and I see the lighter side. And that's what I felt I trained myself to do from a young age, because wherever my focus was, that was my mindset. So if I was looking for nastiness and unpleasantness, damn would it show up. So I trained myself to go the opposite and get more in that dove avenue of, I want to see the good and light in people, and I will always have empathy. I don't care if someone cuts me off. They could be on the way to the hospital. I don't care if somebody gives me the stink eye. They're having a bad day and they deserve love and compassion. That kind of energy, that that experience and reality of change made me be able to deflect so much negativity and just zone in with that love telescope. Like everybody deserves love, as do I. So I had compassion for myself as well. Thoughts influence feelings. Feelings influence emotions. Emotions influence our perspectives and our actions. It's both easy and accurate to say that our thoughts influence our reality. So the next time you look in the mirror, you think you're doing something, say, instead of, oh, this is going to be hard, be like, piece of cake, I got this. I am excellent at this. I'm going to just whirl through this. I'm looking forward to this. I'm excited to see this venue. I'm excited to see this person. I'm excited to go to the grocery store. Maybe there'll be kids dancing in the aisle. I'm telling you, my whole family thinks like I'm not like a magnet for all the weirdness that goes on. Like I always have some. If I go out, I come back with a story. Somebody is coming up to me and sharing something, or I am witnessing something. I'm also looking for it, like the magic and the neatness out there. Like I've had people say the wildest things to me. I've engaged in the craziest conversations. I remember one day when I was down the beach, I saw these surfers and I was just like, oh, I'm just going to go talk to them. And I spent all day there. And they were just a bunch of really cool people my age that decided they didn't want to have to pay for rent, and Southern California had nice weather and they could just basically get a gym membership, work baristas a little bit and surf all damn day, and just talking to them about that life. And it was so freeing to know that so many people bound themselves to this strict set of rules, and we got to let go of that and immerse ourselves in change for growth and expansion. And that's what's happening, which brings us to choosing our experiences wisely, for sure. Analyzing the environments we surround ourselves in daily, taking notice of people's intentions in the most like objective manner possible. I like to do that a lot because I'm like, what are their intentions? I zone in very fast over transactional type of things with people. Like I just get that, I come from a big family and they're funny as heck. And I just always observed that, like I would know who was going to ask whom for what when they came over, and sort of how like I just knew that. It was like, oh, so-and-so wants to borrow this, so-and-so wants to ride, so-and-so wants the party to be held here, all of that. And I love that. Learning graceful methods to set boundaries when needed too, right? I had to teach myself over my years, and I really didn't get there probably till like my 40s of being like, no, you can be very diplomatic and graceful and say, listen, I'm at my bandwidth. I really don't have the energy. And also people around me teaching me, like I love the fact that my offspring was like, always asking me if I had the capacity to hear something that might be upsetting that's going on in their world. I love that they asked me that. They didn't bring a pile driver of like emotional turbulence and dump it at my door. They asked me if I had the mental capacity and space for it. Love that. That taught me something. And I thought that was absolutely phenomenal, because it's ridiculously easy for others to emotionally manipulate highly empathic people. We attract users, we attract narcissists and human leeches simply by existing, because we are givers, and it's it can be detrimental. And that's why we wisely need to choose whom we surround ourselves with. Took me a long time for that, because it's one of those things, though. Do you have a friend that always has a woe story? There's always something going on, and then we become their agony aunt and their problem solver, all of that. Oh man, like in my 20s, definitely. I remember I won this contest, and I was at this like crazy like modeling school. I won this whole thing there, and we were sitting there, and like, so I'm surrounded by people that want to be models and actresses in their 20s, and I'm not super vain. Like I know I looked okay, but I wanted to just meet people basically. And all of a sudden I remember we went out to a restaurant, and every single person started asking me, well, what do you like about me? What looks good about me? And I stopped and I was like, why are these 8 people like ask it like, and at first I thought, oh, that's really nice. They're asking my opinion and what they should be doing and this and that. And then I realized they just really love to hear nice things about themselves. But I felt so drained after it, because it was crazy. It was like a bunch of monkeys jumping around. What do you like about me? What's my best attribute? What should I do here? And it's that sort of thing. So we'll notice these things show up. This is such a beautiful yet intense card, and it reminds me that we are so the rulers of our own domains. We ultimately get to choose the people and the situations that we engage with. So if an ongoing situation is toxic, just get out, just find a way. We are so not responsible to be everyone's healers, especially if they've demonstrated that they're not even ready for our perspectives. They just want the company and attention, right? Every single second is valuable. And I feel like our very existence that we have depends on choosing experiences with wisdom, with grace, with intentions towards the greater good. We deserve to surround ourselves with our people and our kindred. So we got to boot the ones that aren't out to make that room in that healthy void. And I just love these cards. Cheryl, thank you so much. I actually got these as a birthday gift from her, and they have opened a realm of thinking in my mind in a really cool way. Like, I just love it. They just do something, the arches, I dive in, all these beautiful things resonate. And I do feel like a large majority of my audience and you guys, from your comments and everything else, you are artists, you are amazing, you are empaths, you are deep thinkers, you are sensitive, you're beautiful, you're amazing. And, I'm so proud that you guys come to listen and spend a little time with me. So I love y'all, and I'm going to get going and go upload. Love and light.